Good evening. It was with deep respect and a great deal of awe that I nominated Ambrose Milton Shotwell for induction into the Hall of Fame of Leaders and Legends of the blindness field. When I decided to nominate him, I thought I understood his contributions to our work and the reasons he is held in such high esteem. But the more I researched and the more I read about him, the more my view of him expanded. I became captivated and inspired by the insight and the reach and the impact of this remarkable man. As Mike illustrated, Ambrose Shotwell's story is one of brilliance, of insight, of courage, and of relentless effort, all aimed at improving the lives and opportunities of America's blind citizens. In accepting tonight's honor of Mr. Shotwell, it is my pleasure to speak about his influence and his impact. It is both easy and difficult to evidence the influence of Ambrose Shotwell. Easy because his impact is rich and lasting, and because much of the progress he sparked remains in place today. It is difficult to recognize because much of the progress he sparked remains in place today. We may often fail to recognize many of the advances he stirred because they are now integral parts of our profession and our work. In either case, the impact and legacy of Ambrose Shotwell certainly qualify him as a true leader and legend of our field. For us to grasp the influence of this man, it's important for us to understand the passions that fueled him. He was a believer. He believed in people. He believed in possibilities. He believed in what can be, and he acted on his beliefs. He was an activist, a wave maker. He had a penchant and a passion for shedding light on abysmal conditions and for bringing them to the attention of those who could do something to change them. He was tenacious. He didn't give up. He was a gentle bulldog. He was not timid about speaking up, about taking action, even when it was unpopular to do so. To use a contemporary phrase, he spoke truth to power. But probably foremost, Shotwell was a catalyst. He started and inspired movements. He established programs and agencies and associations. He empowered people to change conditions and circumstances. Warren Bledsoe, himself in the Hall of Fame, accurately described Shotwell as a benign agitator. However, using Warren's own list of classic roles played by people in our field, I feel comfortable in declaring Shotwell was also a stormy petrel, a person bent on changing things for the better. Now, nearly 100 years after the end of Ambrose Shotwell's lengthy participation in our field, we still reap the rewards of his benign agitation. We do so when we use or teach or produce Braille, when we build and implement a transition plan for a student moving on to college or into the world of work. We do so when we harvest the yields of Ambrose's commitment, when our blind peers live rewarding lives that fulfill their hopes and capitalize on their talents and skills. We continue his activism when we advocate for legislation that moves forward and improves our services to children and adults. And we are supported by Shotwell's vision when we reap the benefits of membership in our professional association, AER. Because of Shotwell's leadership and commitment, our educational programs are stronger, more diverse, and include the voices of students and families. Employment opportunities, while still not as they should be, are vastly wider and more open. Higher education is no longer unattainable for individuals who are blind or have visual impairments. Because of his courage and willingness to speak up, Consumers and families have a voice in shaping their educational and rehabilitation programs, and we have a strong and effective professional association. Ambrose Shotwell was a gentle and brilliant soul with a granite constitution from which he quarried the stone strength to stand undaunted against the prevailing prejudice of blindness. He remained constant in that commitment for his entire life. Ambrose Shotwell was a believer, a wave maker, a catalyst, and a leader. True to his life's pattern, he led his colleagues and peers in ushering in a new era of professionalism, of potential, of hope. His many impacts attest that he was both a benign agitator and a stormy petrel. And with this induction into the Hall of Fame, we give him his rightful place as a shining example. Welcome, Mr. Shotwell, to the Hall of Fame of Leaders and Legends of the blindness field. Thank you. This has been my honor.